Hello everyone, today I'm going to implement the code for calculator. So in the last video we have designed the view of the calculator, and now here if I click some buttons or operations, it has to display here and it has to perform some operations. Further, I'm going to add an on click event for all the buttons, and here I'm selecting all the buttons and search for on click, and I'm naming it as button clicked, so it's just a function name. And now you can see that these errors say that the button click function is not in main activity.java, so I'm writing the function over here. Button click, it stores the view. Yeah, so whenever the button is clicked, what it has to perform, we will write the code here. So I'm creating a variable for button. Yeah, this variable stores the values of, views of the button. So and here if I click the numbers or operator, it has to display, right? So if I click on 8, so this is nothing but the value of the button. So I have to store the value of button in some variable. So I'm making it a string and I'm giving it as button text. So this will store the value of the button text dot and converting it to string. At the same time, we need to retrieve the value of this text field and we need to store in a variable. So for this text field, I have given the ID as, if you go here, you can see the ID of it. So the ID is text view. So I'm creating a text view. Yeah. So I'm retrieving the value through view by ID. R is nothing but resource, r dot id dot, and the ID name is text view. And I'm taking one more variable to store the value of text field. So I'm naming it as current number. So dot get text, and it has to convert to string. So we have taken variables for button and text. Now what we have to do is we need to create a switch case, because we have like number of buttons and number of values and operators. Switch case is best for this kind of cases. So I'm creating a switch, and this switch stores the values of button text case. So what happens if the user press 0? What happens if the user press 1? So I'm writing this case for all the numbers. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and case for decimal value. Okay, and here I write the cases for operators like plus, minus, this is for multiplication, division, and what happens if the user enters equal to. So these are all the values of this button text, right? So whenever the user enters from 0 to dot, the current number has to change to the value of button text, and after this current number has to display in the text view. So for that I'm writing it as text view dot set text, so it has to display the current number. Yeah. Now I'm executing. It takes a few minutes. Just hold it. Still you can see here it's building up. Oh, there's a small error, expected semicolon. Yeah, sorry, here I forgot to give the semicolon. So again, refresh and build it. So in this video we are going to implement only the action events like buttons or for the numbers. I will make another video for the operators like performing addition, subtraction, those kind of things. Yeah, you can see here, right? So if I click some button, it's changing to that button, but what we need is we need that value to append. Like if I press like 89, it has to show 89 instead of 9, right? So I'm writing it as current number plus button text. So now you can see the difference. Yeah, you can see here, right? So if I press numbers, it's appending to that text field, but you can also see that 0 is still remain in the first place. So to overcome this thing, I'm going to create a new variable, and I'll mention it as boolean. So I'm naming it as start number and I'm making it true. What this do is like, if the user is entering for the first time, so start number, if it is true, the value of the current number should be button text, or else it has to append the values to the previous thing. So here when the user enters the first time, the current number will take the value of only button text, so it will eliminate 0. Yeah, you can see that. So the user is entering for the first time. I click 8, so the current number became 8, and I'm adding the values. So it's not implementing here because here I have to mention like start new number to false, so that it considers it's not the first number, so it goes on adding to the previous number, so it takes this function. So if I run it, I will get the value. Yeah, you can see that. So 8, 9, the values are appending. Now let's go and check for the decimal values. So here we are getting n number of decimal points, right? But in our case, for the whole number, there should be decimal for only one time at any stage, whether maybe at the second or third or fourth. So I'm starting over here. In if case, I'm writing it as if, sorry, it's button text dot equals to dot. What does it means if whenever the user runs the app for the first time, if the user clicks dot, so it will consider it as 0. or else it will be the same current number equal to button text, everything is done. And also we can get that if the user, yeah, if the current number dot contains, whether if the user entered like dot in the second or third position, so this value finds out whether the current number has the value of dot or not. And button text dot equals to dot. So what it has to do, it has to do nothing, so I'm leaving it as blank. Else, so what's happening here is, if the if the decimal value is already in the current number and again the user is trying to enter the decimal value, so it doesn't operate anything, or else it continues to take the values. And yeah, let's execute. There's another decimal inverted, sorry, semicolon expected. Yeah, so I am executing it again. So comparison fail, so there is missing like open close parenthesis, so here I didn't include for the if statement. Orphan case, so let's check for this. It shows like reached end of the while parsing, so if condition is here, started here, and then else, sorry, remove these brackets. Open it here, close it here, execute. Yeah, everything is set. Now you can see I entered 8 and I entered decimal and some values. Now again I am trying to enter decimal, it is not taking because here we mention if it contains the decimal point, so here there is already decimal in the current number and the button text is decimal, it has to do nothing, or else if I press different enters it accepts the value. So that's it for today. In the next video I will explain the operations and how to perform the operations for these all operators. Further we need to create a class and we'll continue in the next video. Thank you.